to take a look at Supta Kurmasana. Okay? And that's the B part of the move. So Kurmasana is when you put your legs over your arms and go forward into that tortoise shape. And Supta Kurmasana is when you try to cross the legs behind the head and take the arms back. Supta Kurmasana is a formidable position. It's one of the crux positions, one of the toughest positions in the primary series, requiring a lot of hip flexibility. And so you want to be very cautious in working on the position and be patient and taking it slowly, step by step. And so Corey, we've selected him on purpose because he's kind of in the middle. Okay, so he's not too stiff, but it's also like not a piece of cake for him to do this posture. Okay, and so we're going to look at his middle position, and then we're also going to look at more little easier ways to work on it as well. So he will go into Kurmasana, and we'll have a look. And the two poses have a relationship, but they also have some differences. So one difference in Kurmasana, you are working with, there's not with the hip rotation. In fact, it's like a fancy forward bend with the legs over the arms. So you're extending the limbs, both sets, so the hands go away from you and you push out through the legs. All right? And that extension you get through the limbs helps you to work with Supta Kurmasana, even though change happens. So when you're going to go for the Supta Kurmasana, and we're kind of assuming that you're not going to get an adjustment. This is like a home practice ideas or self-practice. Okay? And so what you want to do is bend the knees a little bit, or let's just see how Corey does it first. Okay, so look what he did. He lifts up his body some. So you want to do that. That's a good move. And then, wait a sec. Before he took his arms back, he brought his feet about halfway together. Okay, so let's check that out. And then he took the arms back and clasped the fingers. Then you scramble, kind of walk your feet towards each other and then cross one over the other and duck the head under. Okay? So that's your basic strategy. Okay, so one way to get the feeling of being able to duck under your legs with a little more ease is to scramble your feet onto a block. Make sure it's not too far in or too far out, because if it's too far in, your head will go on it, and if it's too far out, you can't get your feet on it. Okay, so it's got to go right in the middle, and then notice he's lifted up and he didn't take his arms back. So in this case, you're going to put your feet on the block before you take the arms back. Okay, so here he goes. He lifts up the left, lifts up the right, crosses them over. Yes, and then ducks the head under, and then takes the arms back. Okay, and then come out. And one thing is that kind of classically in the Ashtanga system, it's left first and then the right over. But there's no reason you can't mix it up and do the right first and the left. And in fact, it will kind of help with your dexterity. So let's try that out. And it can be awkward at first if you're used to using the left, but it's a really excellent means of improving your posture by getting coordinated with both hips equally. So there goes right first, then left, and then cross that over. Yes. And you can see it's not, he has a little bit of tough time, but he's not used to doing it. And he can't quite grab in the back either. But that's no problem. You can just work on it to get a little more symmetry. All right, so whether you have the block or not, you don't have to cross the feet. Okay, so you can scramble them together and then just put the soles together. It's a little bit easier than crossing it over. So look, he walks up the block and then he just presses the soles of the feet together and takes back the arms. Okay, and then you can also just do that without the block too. You can work on it very nicely just like this. You don't want to press too hard together because you really would want the feet to kind of open and go this way. Actually, you can experiment around with that, is play and have foot intelligence. Kind of push the feet together And because it's interesting, this, the knees, when you do Supta Kurmasana, it's different with different people, but basically you want your legs in a middle position. Okay, so you don't want them too far up, and you don't want them too open, which is a curious contradiction. You'd think that you just want to open the hips as much as possible, but you want them to stay in the middle. And so when you play with the feet in front of you, you can kind of get the feeling for what is the middle. Okay, because when you take the leg behind the head, it's going to be a middle position. Okay, and let's look at this for a second. I'm just going to adjust him so you can see where it would be headed. But, right, so you would want to get that, no, keep this right where it is. That shoulder to go under and this leg to bend more. Okay, and the same, this shoulder under and that leg to bend. All right, so another way to work on it is to just sit up. Okay, so you come out of your position, sit up, and then work on taking first one leg behind your head at a time. Okay, here we go. So you start with the left side, and when you do it, you want to make a right angle between your thigh and your shin. Okay, so you don't want it down here, and you don't want to straighten it. Go ahead, straighten that. Yeah, not like this. You want it at the right angle. And you want to actually keep that right angle the whole time, even when the leg goes behind your head. Okay, so here we go. He hoists that leg up over the shoulder and then ducks the head under. And look at the right hand catches the outer left heel. That's a good positioning. Okay, and then once you've ducked under, then you got to slowly try to kind of push against your leg. It's a gentle pressure, but that's what you're working to kind of come upright. Okay, then release that and come out and take the second side. All right, so form the right angle between your right thigh and right shin. And then look, his left hand has caught the outer right heel. And then you hoist that up the arm, keeping that right angle. Don't straighten the leg. And then duck under. And then as soon as you get that under, you may need to hold that foot in place, because if you don't, then it'll slip off of your head. It won't, you can't keep it back there. So then you're pushing gently up against that. But as you push there, keep this right leg bent. Okay, it'll want to straighten as you push up. And that's partly why it slips off your head, but you're keeping it bent. Okay? And then slowly. So remember too, you are not forcing. Okay? Get this. What's cool about this position is exploring the range of motion of your hip. Okay, that is what's beautiful, is to feel the femur in the hip socket working. This is a particular pose where you don't think of the end result. Okay, there's nothing great, nothing magical, no pot at the end of the rainbow by getting your leg behind your head. Okay, and the ego can get invested in that crazy project. But remember, you're in the process of it. Okay. Now, you can also do it with a little bit of a forward bend. So go back to the left side and take that behind. You staying with your breathing. So he has that right angle. He hiked that up around his shoulder. He ducked under. And then slowly he works forward, and you can take a block and put that head to the block and try to lengthen. Okay? So you're going under the leg and keeping the right angle between the left thigh and left shin. And then come up, and we'll try the second side. And also remember that suppose your leg doesn't go like this is as far as you can go. Well, you can do that same good work right here, and you can even go forward like that without totally putting the leg behind the head. Okay? And actually when you do that, let's see, cross that over and try to, so either way, you can try it on either side of the leg. Okay?